afternoon. Supriya, thanks for being with us. First of all, let me ask you about Maharashtra and then Jharkhand. How disappointed are you and surprised by the way it's gone in Maharashtra? And why do you think that's happened?
No, I'm not going to mince my words, and I will say that Maharashtra has been hugely disappointing. We were expecting a much better show. We were expecting a much better tally for the Mahavikas Agadi. So this is a very, very shocking, a very disappointing number. This really belies our own expectations. But we draw a lot of comfort from the fact that we are forming the government again in Jharkhand. We draw comfort from the fact that at least the divisive politics did not play through both in Jharkhand and in Maharashtra. Because the common factor for me, if you ask me as a student of politics, I assess this elections, and that's pure and simple, is that the women voters have spoken and they have spoken very loudly. They spoke for the Maya Yojana in Jharkhand and they have certainly spoken, it looks like, for the Ladki Yojana. I think the one mistake, if you ask me, that we perhaps made was we underestimated the Ladki Bahin Yojana, simply because they got a lot of time because of the elections being delayed by the election commission. 2-3 installments and EMIs of that scheme had already gone to people's accounts. So that's my pure assessment. Has Maharashtra been disappointing? Absolutely, I'm not going to mince my words. But I draw a lot of comfort, I draw a lot of hope, and I draw a lot of solace from Jharkhand, where we are going to be forming the government yet again.
But are you a little worried that the Congress's own performance in both states, in Maharashtra in particular, its own performance has not been good? You're down, I think, to 20 seats in Maharashtra at the moment. You are down more than 40 seats, if I'm not mistaken. We'll just get that graphic up. In 44. Jharkhand, 44 seats, yeah. So in Jharkhand, you're almost the same as last time, or down a seat or so. Is that disappointing? Is that worrying that the Congress seems to be a weak link in these in state after state?
I think you have the numbers wrong for Jharkhand. Our performance is more or less where we were last time. But yes, Maharashtra has been disappointing. I will not mince my words. The Mahavikas Agadi as a whole has not performed. We are one of the better performers in the Mahavikas Agadi. But if you ask me what went wrong, perhaps the fact that we underestimated the Ladki Bahin Yojana was one thing. The fact that, a lot of people are saying that this is not a result they were expecting, they refused to buy this. Emotions are running high, but there are many people in Maharashtra who did not see the wind blowing this way. I mean, if these numbers were to go by, then this was an election which had a wave. Now that wave was completely missing because many of your colleagues, your friends, your partners were there and they did not see this wave at all. So all of us collectively could not have missed something that was so blowing in the wind.
Then how did you?
I mean, it clearly looks like we underestimated one of the big flagship schemes, which was Ladki Yojana. There are people within political spheres, there are people who are questioning the EVM. I'm not going to do that today. I'm only going to react to numbers that I see on television screens right now. But should there be a detailed discussion? Should there be a detailed debate on use of EVMs and the way money power and political power is misused in elections? Absolutely, there should. But I'm not going to do that today. I can be rest assured.
Just one point of fact, you were saying that you're the best performing in the Agadi, or sorry to say this, in Maharashtra. You're the worst performing actually in the Agadi because you contested close to 100 seats and you only are leading in 19. Shiv Sena UBT is leading in the same number, 19, and they contested less seats. And NCP Sharad Pawar 13, but yeah. So strike rate wise,
I do believe. Okay, let me speak now. Thank you for your analysis. Let me speak now. I do believe that the vote transfer did not happen to us like we had expected it to. I do believe that the vote transfer from Sena did not happen to the Congress, but that doesn't bother us too much because collectively we underestimated a scheme that was working for them. Collectively, we underestimated the amount of money that was flowing into this election. Collectively, we underestimated the kind of influence that a sitting government had. But having said that, have we learnt our lessons? Yes, we have. But I am not going to waste all my time this afternoon only talking about Maharashtra. I do want to talk about Jharkhand because that is where this whole batenge katenge started. That is where the Prime Minister invoked the whole beti ko chheen le jayenge. And yet he was squarely rejected. Actually, on a population basis, the Prime Minister did more rallies in Jharkhand than he did in Maharashtra. And that's quite clear.
Right. Shivam, you had a question for Supriya?
No, I'm saying that she's repeatedly saying we underestimated the Ladki Bahin Yojana's impact. So how differently could you have responded to the scheme? Because the BJP also could not respond to a similar scheme in Jharkhand similarly. So does this scheme have any answer when a state government is giving cash to women and winning elections through that, and this is the fourth or fifth such election? What can an opposition party do anyway?
One thing is very clear, and I want to put it on record, that Priyanka Gandhi winning Wayanad is great news for us. Also because she's a flag bearer of women's rights. Her being in puts the women's issues in focus squarely. And the one thing that I want to say is, the answer that we may perhaps have had is, we should have talked about that scheme. We should have talked about how we were going to give a better scheme, maybe a lot more in advance. We do similar schemes in Karnataka, in Telangana, and in Himachal. And I think this is what we had to tell the voters a lot more than we eventually ended up doing. The BJP ran a which was negative. They put ads saying we're not doing something. I think our counter to that should have been a little prolonged and a little deeper. I'm sorry, I'll have to run now.
One sec,
Supriya,
please.
one question from Dorab.
Supriya
Just
Shrinate,
one question.
Just one question. Do you think the fact that you didn't have a clear leader, Mr. Patole was not a sort of a statewide leader, you didn't have a powerful leader, either they have defected or that they are too old or they didn't fight. Do you think that hurt you in any way?
No, I don't think so. I think 3 hours into counting, I'm not going to say that at all. I don't think the Maha Yuti also has a clear leader. Even now, we don't know whether Mr. Shinde or Mr. Fadnavis is going to be the front runner for that job. The election was fought on Mr. Shinde's face, but it looks like
each of the other five had a leader. You didn't have a leader.
So,
each of the other five had a well-known leader.
I don't think that's the case at all. No, I don't think that's true at all. I mean, we were fighting this election in a coalition. We were very certain that whoever is gainer will have a chief minister candidate. I think it's too early to perhaps do the post-mortem so threadbare. But we will be looking at that election result. We will do a region-wise analysis. We will see where the vote split happened. And I'm sure we can have a more detailed and informed discussion in some hours and days to come.
All right, Supriya.
Thank you. I'll just have to go.
Thanks very much for joining us. And